We are joined now by we want to say thanks, by the way, to all of you out there listening on the dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of new affiliate stations, all starting today and in the weeks ahead. We appreciate you. We've gone over 500 in affiliates, massive number, all 50 states, and a guy who occasionally likes to check in on us when he's running around his district and running around the nation, trying to make sure that we are on the right track. Our friend, Congressman Jim Jordan, great state of Ohio. Congressman, how are things going? We appreciate you swinging by.
You bet. Good to be with you guys, and congratulations on just the ever-growing audience out there and more stations. That just shows what a good job you all are doing.
So far, so good. 4 years in. Let's dive into what you're focused on right now, which is the federal district court judges have emerged as the primary resistance to Trump's authority in the United States. The Democrat Party has collapsed. We were talking about the overall approval ratings hitting all-time lows at NBC and CNN. What do you think about these federal district court judges, and what do you think should be done to stop one judge, who is oftentimes an Obama appointee, from trying to keep President Trump from being able to enact the executive actions that the American people put him in office to do?
Yeah, there's, I think, several things. We have oversight of Article III courts, so we're looking at all this. So there's sort of the general oversight function, and then there's legislation that we can do. And I was telling Buck, I listened. We were driving this morning, and I heard your show from Friday. We were playing as we were heading off to a meeting, and you were talking about this issue. And we passed this bill 2 or 3 weeks ago out of committee. We're going to try to get it through the House. But the bill says, if you have some judge in Timbuktu, California, who issues a ruling, it doesn't apply nationwide. It applies to the parties of the case, the parties in the case in that respective jurisdiction. And so you limit the ability. What has it been? I think 15 times in 8 weeks. Actually, it'd be a shorter period of time than that, even 6-7 weeks, where 15 different occasions where some federal judge has had a nationwide injunction against some actions taken by President Trump, either executive order or some of the DOJ things that have taken place. And so, and I think in the whole 4 years of Joe Biden, it was like 13 or 14. So we think this makes sense. And then we're also just looking at our general oversight of this whole thing. And of course, the biggest example, while it was not a nationwide injunction, but the example that's front and center in everyone's mind is this Judge Boasberg, who said, no, it's better to bring hardened criminals back to the country, gang members back to the country, than to send them away, which I think just underscores how ridiculous some of this stuff is that we're seeing from these judges.
Congressman Jordan, appreciate you being with us. So clearly we agree that reining in the hashtag resistance, universal injunction happy judiciary is constitutionally necessary. I have a feeling the Democrats in the Senate, however, will be unwilling to go along with this. So is this mostly just a function of making the argument in front of the American people that this should be done? So at least when Democrats are claiming that this is the way it has to be, the Trump administration can turn around and say, one, we disagree, and two, it's Democrats who are refusing to clarify this. So, of course, it's going to have to make its way up to the Supreme Court, because we know they'll complain about that, too.
Yeah. I mean, we could have taken a course. There's other legislation that we're looking at where you would do some expedited review. So if it stays the same, so some federal district judge can issue a ruling, has nationwide implications, then you get some expedited review, some 3-judge panel, then on the Supreme. So you can do that route as well. We'll look at that legislative if that makes sense. But the idea is to get an answer quickly and not have these judges and the Democrats forum shopping. But I would back up a second. I think really what this is about is the left doesn't want to trust the individual who was elected to make decisions. The left says, no, we got to go to the judges. We got to go to the experts in the government, the bureaucrats who are so much smarter than we, the people. It's the whole reason they thought Dr. Fauci should run the world a few years ago. It's not trusting in the guy who put their name on the ballot, was elected. And as Article 2, Section 1, I always point to this, the very first sentence in Article 2 of our Constitution says, executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States. The Democrats don't like that. They want the experts to run things, and then they want to go to the courts to run things. They don't like the guy that the people put in power. So ultimately, that's where it's about. And then we're trying to figure out a way to make sure that the people get their wishes done, as was reflected in the election on November 5th.
We're talking to Congressman Jim Jordan. What is the latest that you can tell us about the big, beautiful bill that I know is working its way through, the reconciliation bill that would deal with taxes, that would deal with the border, I believe, everything else? What's the absolute latest there people should know? What's the time frame look like? How do you see it going?
Well, I think good, especially now that we've got the CR done. No one thought we could really get that done, and everyone, you thought there were going to be some kind of fight. But when we framed it up with this just flat funding, maybe saving a few dollars like we did, now that that's off the table, I think we can turn to implementing the DOGE cuts, doing the reconciliation that the American people elected us to do. The speaker's indicated he wants a May timeframe on this to try to get this all done. I think that'd be great if we can make it happen that quickly. Getting some certainty on the tax code, getting some certainty on energy policy, getting the revenue and resources to Tom Homan and President Trump's team to make sure they can continue to secure our border. I think that makes all the sense in the world. But that victory last week was good. I saw Senator Murphy, Democrat senator from Connecticut, on TV yesterday, and he said this was the first time that the government spending bill wasn't negotiated in a bipartisan fashion, didn't have bipartisan buy-in. You know what else it was? It was the first time we passed a spending bill where we didn't spend more money. Maybe there's a correlation there. Maybe there's some truth to us doing it this way so that we're not spending more money. So I thought that was a big win for us. And now we're set to implement the DOGE cuts that the Trump administration and Elon and his team have put together, along with this reconciliation package. And let's hope we can get it done by the spring here, by May, and then get on with the economy growing like we want it to grow.
Congressman Jordan, you may have seen this a couple of days ago. FBI Director Kash Patel shared this. Quote, I want to address the alarming rise in swatting incidents targeting media figures.
Mm-hmm.
The FBI is aware of this dangerous trend, and my team and I are taking action to investigate and hold those responsible accountable. There have been a number of people, the reports are out there, who have had this swatting incidents happen. And for anyone listening, it's where someone calls in a hoax, high threat situation to law enforcement, says, oh, here's the address. There's somebody barricaded with a gun holding a hostage. And sometimes SWAT shows up and goes in heavy through the door. And it's very dangerous. Right. My understanding is that, yes, of course, this is against the law, but there's no specific law that's brought to bear, federal law, targeting. I'm usually not in favor of more laws, but is anyone in the Congress considering an anti-swatting law specifically to address this so that it's very clear? Yeah. Hey, if you try, because someone could get killed. I mean, there have been lethal incidents in the past with this.
Yeah, no kidding. If legislation is needed to clarify that, we're certainly open to doing that. That makes sense to me. This is dangerous stuff, and you start messing around with this kind of stuff for political reasons because you want to go get the someone on the other party or whatever. I know our colleague, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, has been swatted a couple times, or several times. So if you're doing this for political stuff, there should be prosecution. Just like if you're Attorney General Bondi has talked about this. If you're these folks in these cities, these sanctuary cities, and you're tipping off the bad guys when ICE is coming to try to do their job, and you're making it difficult for ICE agents to implement and enforce federal law.
And dangerous for them, because some of these bad guys can set up ambush. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we saw this happen in in Denver. The sanctuary city policies out there were they let this guy go, this Abraham Gonzalez. They let him go, even though ICE had said, hey, if you're going to release this guy, we know you got him. He's in for aggravated assault. He stole a car. If you're going to release him, give us 48 hours notice so we can come to the jail and pick him up in your county jail, in your city jail. And they said no. They released him to the streets, and then they got to go arrest him on the streets. And as a result, an ICE agent got assaulted. It's like that's what happens when you have this crazy left-wing sanctuary city policy. So if it's that or swatting or whatever, let's make sure that we protect the safety and allow. And if you're engaged in that kind of stuff, you should be prosecuted, for goodness sake.
Jim, New York Times this morning said right now we're on pace for the lowest amount of border crossings since 1967. I knew you had faith that Trump and Tom Homan and Christine Ohm and everybody else out there could get this thing solved. Did even you Are you even astounded by how quickly he has
I
managed
am.
to turn the southern border into a secure zone?
Yeah, I am, and it's truly a reflection of leadership. And, we all know leadership makes a difference. And when you come in and say, you reverse exactly what Biden said. No more building the wall. No more remain in Mexico. And when you get here, you will not be detained. You will be released. And President Trump came in and said, we're going to flip those exactly 180 degrees. We're going to continue building the wall. We're going to make you wait in Mexico while we evaluate your claim. And when you get here, there is no way you will be released. You will be detained and sent back. And anyone else who came here, we're going to find you and send you back if you're not supposed to be here. When you come in with that kind of attitude, and Tom Homan is certainly reflective of that attitude. And you do those things, it's amazing what happens. Lowest encounters, I think, ever, as you pointed out, Clay. But I got to admit, it's even faster and better than I thought they could do it, which is, again, a testament to the leadership of President Trump and his team.
Congressman Jim Jordan, always appreciate you making the time for us, sir. Oh, wait, Clay, I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to give you a chance because it's NCAA
I know
tournament season.
Now. Yes, we're saving the Republic / let's talk sports. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Buck is going to fill out a bracket, which he's rarely done before. But I also know the wrestling NCAA tournament is underway, I believe, and you are a former. You are a diehard on that front. What should people know about the NCAA tournament for the men out there that everybody's going to be watching this weekend, and also wrestling? I'll give you an opportunity to flex your muscles.
Yeah, and wrestling, Penn State's going to win again, unfortunately, but there'll be a strong competition for runner up. The Buckeyes will be good. Hawkeyes are good. Nebraska, there's a lot. I mean, it's all Big Ten. Then there's a few teams from the Big 12. Oklahoma State will be solid. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to go for the finals. I think it's in Philadelphia. We'll be there for the final night. Basketball, I'm always cheering for the Badgers. Even though they got beat yesterday in that Big Ten final, cheering for the Badgers, which is where I went to school. So we'll see. I don't even know I haven't looked at the brackets yet though today. I assume the Badgers got a pretty high seed. But,
you're a 3 seed, so you're in pretty good set up to play Alabama in the Sweet 16 if you make it there.
There we go. Well, so I'll probably in my bracket I usually if Wisconsin's in the tournament, I usually have them going to the Final Four at some point. So I'm sure I'll have that in my bracket this time too.
Outstanding stuff. Keep up the good work, Congressman, and we appreciate you.
You bet. Take care.
It's great. I mean, he's fabulous in many respects, but I do love that when he's out on the road, like you said, Buck, he was listening to you on Friday. He's like, hey, let me go ahead and hop on and talk about everything going on out there in the world.
On the serious note, do you agree with me? There should be you're a lawyer. There should be an anti-swatting law, because I know that there are violations of law in swatting, but it makes it easier for prosecutors if it's, you did the following things, you are covered under this specific statute, which is trying to prevent. Because right now it's, interstate threats, it's false report, it's a bunch of different things. But, I know this from terrorism prosecutions. Like, when there's one thing you can hit people with, like when it's material support to a terrorist group, 10 years in federal prison, it's a lot easier than trying to cobble together a multi-statute prosecution.
It also simplifies and makes people aware of what danger they're facing.
There's a political component to it, or awareness component as well.
Yeah, and you just shouldn't do this. I mean, it's dangerous, and it's just awful. I mean, there are a lot of things out there where you can say, we talked about this with death threats. Unfortunately, we got some at the House during the election season. Like, I think there are several things that are sort of new, because people haven't had access to direct messages and social media and cell phones, everything else, that are new crimes that we need to prosecute to the fullest extent of the law, to just make it clear this is not a prank. This is not something you can play around with. And I agree with you. I think that could make a lot of sense. Look, think back to your days in school, whenever those might have been, recent, long time ago. Maybe you missed some of the courses that you wish you had taken. Maybe, possibly, you didn't get up as early as you should have. Maybe you didn't get to go to college. Maybe you've got a little bit more free time now, and you're aware, hey, I've got a little bit of an absence. I wish I had more functional knowledge about World War I, World War II, the Constitution, Mark Twain, Jane Austen, whoever it might be out there. This is, I think, beyond a shadow of a doubt, something that you should be taking advantage of. And that's at Hillsdale College. Professors passionate about what they teach, want everybody to benefit from learning. So what Hillsdale College professors have done is create dozens of online video courses on a variety of subjects free to watch, no tests, no homework, pure learning for the sake of being more informed. Millions of Americans taking one or more of those courses. They've got nearly 40 of them, and they focus on everything under the sun. No grades. They're online. You can take them at your convenience, so you don't have to worry about scheduling. You don't have to worry about grades. Just learning for learning's sake. From the Constitution, like I mentioned, world wars, great civilizations like the history of ancient Rome. You can learn so much about the world around you, all for free at Clay and Buck for Hillsdale.com. No cost, easy to get started. Clay and Buck, FOR Hillsdale.com. One more time, Clay and Buck for Hillsdale.com.